Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show, continuing our conversation about the Slamdance Film Festival. We are discussing the documentary On Her Own, and joining me we have director Morgan Schmidt-Feng and also Nancy Prebelich. Did I get that right?
Prebelich, close, good.
Yeah, almost. Okay, well, nice to have
Not
you guys
easy.
here. It certainly is a pleasure to be joined by you and to have you here in our studio, to be here in Park City. You've been here before yourself.
Yep.
Nancy, first time?
First time.
How
and
are you
I'm
feeling about it?
absolutely in love.
Really?
In love. Oh my
and you've
gosh.
only been here how long? 24 hours or something?
Yeah, about that. Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's amazing.
No, it's beautiful.
Oh, well, it's hard not to fall in love, I think, because I grew up here, and so it's a wonderful place to be. So I hope you guys enjoy your time here. But let's talk about the film in terms of how you guys actually met to begin with, and then we'll get into the actual subject matter of the film.
Yeah. How we met was I was shooting a short segment, and it was just like a 1-minute thing on that area of Sonoma County, and I met Nancy on that shoot, and I was really taken by her story, and I was like, you know, can I get your email address? And she's like, sure, you can, you know, email me. And so I sent her an email and said, hey, I'd really like to talk to you more about possibly shooting you and your family at your farm. And she said, okay, let's meet. And so we met in Berkeley, and you know, we were with a still photographer, Anthony Lindsay, and I guess it was like 2 weeks later, I was up there filming at the ranch, and with her mom and dad, and them just trying to get 300 chickens on a truck out the door. So
wow.
Yeah. So
and there you have it. And
yeah,
now you're at Slamdance.
Yeah, exactly.
The chickens at Slamdance.
That's right.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Well, let's give viewers an overview of what this film is about.
Okay. The film is about, first and foremost, it's about this family and their struggle to hold on to their land and to their heritage. And they've been there for 5 generations. And, you know, it's really Nancy's personal story, and it's a portrait of this family trying to just, you know, survive and, you know, put food on our table.
Nancy, what was it like for you to be followed with a camera and sharing these moments that I don't think not everyone would actually want to have on screen? What was that like for you?
Well, you know, at first, it was not an unusual interest because of, you know, as this whole food movement culture is evolving and people want to know where their food comes from, know your farmer, know your food. So, you know, just the interest to have somebody that wanted to get up close and personal was familiar, and we were open to that. And then, you know, life just happened, and as it does, and to Morgan's testament with his style and his ease, he really just became part of the family, and so it was very easy to share our story with him because he became so part of our family.
Nancy, tell me about your family. What was it like working with them and putting this documentary together?
Oh, well, going into business with your family is something very special.
Very gutsy. Say that.
You know, it was definitely difficult, but it was also something that was sort of an unspoken understanding our whole life, being so connected to our ranch, that there's a kind of calling to it, and it was just sort of what we knew we would end up doing eventually. And it was, you know, being that close with working with your family can be very difficult sometimes, but also I'll tell you one thing I'm very grateful for is to have it captured and the beautiful moments that we shared. It's I describe it as like watching a home video on steroids. Yeah, yeah, but it's great.
That's good that you've come away with that in mind, that you guys are still friends is what I'm thinking. But let's talk a little bit about this, the Great Recession and what it did to families and what you were both hoping to get across on screen. Because as a documentary, I'm sure there were some very emotional moments. Others where you're like, why in the world am I showing people this? And other times where you're like, I am so grateful that people get to see this. What are your thoughts on that, Morgan?
Well, I mean, for me, it was my family is from a small farming town in Iowa, and so my great-grandmother and my grandmother and my mom told me stories about growing up on their farm, and they lost it during the Great Depression. And so now, you know, 2 generations later, the Great Recession is hitting, and this family is struggling with almost the identical issues that they were struggling with in a small town farming, you know, in the 1930s. And so I grew up in a city in Berkeley, and so I didn't have a sense of what it was like to really be on a farm. I'd only heard the stories. And so this was an opportunity for me to experience up close and personal the real hardships and struggles that Nancy, her mom, her dad, her sister, and the niece and nephews had to go through. And they were right in there in the trenches. Samantha, you know, 5, 6, 7 years old. The boy is 12 years old, driving the tractor, shoveling, you know, pig poop. And, you know, so it was like they were in the trenches working with Nancy, and that was incredible. And then the loss of her father was just devastating for her, and I felt very privileged to be able to be there and be welcomed into their family to capture this, you know, the hardest time in her entire life.
I hope to God that was. I hope to God.
Well, before we go any further, we're going to share the trailer with folks so they get an idea of exactly what you guys are talking about. So here it is, On Her Own.
What is the point of a farm and a ranch and a legacy and a history if we're neglecting our relationships and our family? I genuinely don't know who I'd be or what I would do without the ranch.
I'd like to wake up one morning and not have a problem, have the day go the way I'd like it to go, but that doesn't always happen.
The kids are the biggest concern I have. They see what's happening to us, they feel it.
And right now we're overdrawn. There is no money. I don't know what to do.
Dog! No! Put the baby down! Put the baby down!
We're all fighting for a solution. The problem is that we have only ourselves, so we end up fighting amongst ourselves.
Do you have needles?
It's a big frickin' deal. If we're gonna be at the market the day we bury our dad, it's a big frickin' deal.
The kids are what binds us.
Yeah, I'll get my knife. There we go. It's easy. Oh, and she also has a big wish.
Something much bigger happened, and he didn't.
Just watching that, what is it like for you to see that and to share that with people?
Oh, I always tear up seeing it. And, you know, just to see my folks again. I don't know.
That's so amazing that you were able to capture that. Kind of a weird, I would think, a weird dichotomy of emotions here. Sharing that, but also having the privilege. I mean, you have all that to keep with you.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about where we can go
Yeah.
to see it.
Well, we are really, really grateful to the folks at Slam Dance, Hillary Campbell, talking to her when she, told us that we got in. We were incredibly excited and feel very privileged to be with such a great group and an amazing group of talented filmmakers. So it's playing today at 3:45, the world premiere at the Treasure Mountain Inn.
It'll actually be my first time seeing the full film.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's going to be quite
Yeah.
an experience.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, Morgan and Nancy, thank you so much
Thank
for being
you.
here and for sharing this side of your family. That's brave. That's all I have to say. That is very brave and a pleasure that
Well,
you
I'm
are
not
here.
alone, so I think it's an important story to share.
Right.
There's more families like mine, so.
Very good.
Yeah.
True
Yeah.
story. Thank you so much,
Thank
both
you.
of you. Enjoy your time here in Park City,
Thank
and
you.
hope to see you guys again. maybe
Thank you
next
so
year.
much.
That'd be great. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. We'll be right back after this commercial break. When we do, we have much more to share with you, including the film Dog Bowl.